So finally, it's time to make our first round of splits. So queens have just arrived this morning. This week's been terrible weather, so we've been struggling to get these splits done in time. So usually I'd like to have them done by now and have them queenless for at least a few days, if not a week, just so they're hopelessly queenless and not attempting to make any cells, or we can knock any cells back. So unfortunately, we can't do that this time. So we're going to jump into our hives that we're going to split. So ultimately, I'm going to use our overwintered nuke that I've overwintered on double brood. They're the ones I'm going to split first. So I'm looking to 2 to 3 frames of brood, a frame of stores, frame of pollen, and then we'll leave these bees on site to add the queens. And then all the nukes had a queen wrap. We're going to move along to a couple of our rapeseed sites, just so they can make most of the forage out there. So we'll get suited up. It's not the warmest, we're about 13, 14 degrees, something like that. But the bees are out flying, as you'll see. So we'll see what we can pull out of these. Like I say, well, I'm aiming for 20 nukes, and then we'll get suited up, get the smoky lit, and we'll crack on. So we are literally still swimming in the apiaries. It's going to take forever for this to dry out. There's not a lot I can do about it, but we've just got to crack on now. Like I said, these queens are imminent. They will be here today. I have switched the incubator on at home, and like I said the other week, some of you will say, I thought you bred your own queens. We do. But I just can't get queens ready this early in the season for when I like to do my first round of splits, so we inevitably end up buying a few in just to start off with. But we are looking to start grafting possibly from next week, looking at the weather, fingers crossed. So that's the plan. Like I said, the queens are imminent, they're arriving today, so I need to get 20 splits done, 20 nukes moved out of here because we are getting a little bit overcrowded, we're tight on space. So there's enough nukes here to be just doing one split per colony, which is what I prefer to do. So I don't want to split them that hard where it takes them weeks and weeks and weeks to start recovering from it properly. So if I can just take out 2 or 3 frames out of each, then all's good. So put the new box in the place of the old one, so all the foraging bees come back here. So ultimately, ideally, for the queens to be accepted, we want nurse bees. So there's the original queen. Obviously we want to keep her out of the way, we don't want to be putting her in the box. So the original queen's going to go in this nuke box down by my feet. And like I said, we're going to move her elsewhere. Good frame of stores in with her. And for this split, I want capped or emerging brood because they're all going to be young bees. That's an ideal one. We don't want any brood or minimise the brood that they're going to have to keep warm and look after. Again, another good frame of stores for the split. Frame of stores, frame of pollen. Another frame of emerging brood, and that will do them. So this is what we've got. A frame of foundation, a frame of drawn foundation, 2 frames of brood, or 2 frames of capped brood, or emerging brood, with nurse bees, and a frame of stores with pollen on as well. And in the original colony, frame of stores with pollen on, another frame of stores, 2 frames of capped brood and eggs, one with a queen on, and a frame of foundation as well. So now I can already hear the roar within the colony here now, and they're already realising that they're queenless. There we go, 1 down, 19 to go. Yeah, piling back in there with that pollen now. So I've opened this nuke at the side of it, and it's actually quite weak. Queens laying, they have got brood, but they were short of a field force. The one I've just split have got the field force, but I don't particularly want those because they're more likely to reject the queen. So I'm going to swap the struggling colony for the one I've just split, and then they'll get the field force that they need, and then we'll be able to introduce the queen into that one with no problems at all. So yeah, another one, second frame out. I found the queen straight away, so I've put her down in the box down by my feet here. And then we've got up top in the second box, drawn foundation with a bit of pollen. Again, drawing that one. 2 undrawn, so we'll shake those off of bees. Looking for them smoke when it's right in front of my face. Good frame of stores and pollen. Emerging brood. Again, that goes into the split, and again another frame of brood and bees, and I'll go with the queen. She can have the shake of bees in here. So these were just moving up into a third box. So hopefully this is another one we can get at least 2 splits out of. Very, very calm, these bees. Famous last words. Frame of stores. So a bit of capped, a bit of open, a bit of store, so they'll go with the queen. Again, more capped brood, more brood and stores. The bee in the veil, never good, is it? Panic stations every time. I only just realised bottom boxes are 14×12, so that just changes things a little bit. And I do need to find this queen. So now I know I've not put her in one of the boxes. Just arrived at the rapeseed then. Just drop these girls off. So we're going to open up the entrances, give them a bit of syrup. I always like to make sure they've got a bit of syrup. A few of them on the light side as it is anyway. But I think it's safe to say we've actually got a full on up at the rapeseed. So when I turned up it was a little bit warmer, but you see I'm going to have to open these entrances up on these hives. And I wish we had smell-o-vision. You can smell the rapeseed now at last after all that panic, all that worry. As you can see, definitely need to open that one. Yeah, so these hives need those entrances opening just so they can get in and out that little bit quicker. But it's in full flow now, you can smell the nectar, it's lovely. It smells like nothing else. It's one of them unmistakable smells, just like heather. But you can see a first size field here. We passed one on the way in, and then on the other side through the hedges we just keep on going. And that's where the late sea crop is on the other side. So fingers crossed, a good month or so of nectar flow. I've looked at the weather, although it dips next week, it is meant to pick up a little bit, get a little bit warmer, and it's also threatening a bit of a heat wave. So whether that comes true or not, we'll see, won't we? But let's have a look what arrived yesterday. So these are 2024 Buckfast Queens. So as I said, they came yesterday in the post. We weren't quite ready for them with the nucs. I was still out putting them together, to be honest. So obviously we have the incubator for when we start grafting. So we just turned that on and we've stored them overnight. We just gave them a little bit of a drink when they came yesterday. Yeah, like I said, they're stored overnight in the incubator, so we're going to take them out now and pop them into the nucs that we made up yesterday. But as you can see, there's some stunning looking queens amongst these. So we're back at where we made our splits yesterday. So ideally I would have liked to leave these at least a few more days, if not a week, so that they're hopelessly queenless, but unfortunately we don't have that luxury this time. So we're back the day after. There's a slightly low on numbers this one, but it should be fine. So we put some feed on yesterday. I find that is what's key. There's got to be either a really good nectar flow on, or you put some syrup on the bees and then they're more ready to accept a queen. Less stress on the colony and less of an excuse to reject the queen. back at our nuke site where we made our splits. So it's been 3 days now. So we've had hailstorm, gale force winds, torrential rain, everything. So this is the first nice day. Like I say, it's been 3 days, so we're going to go in now, pop the cages on these queens. Obviously check for queen cells first. That's a given. Bees will not accept a queen if they already have one or have the means of making one. So I want to make sure that any queen cells are not back. These guys are hopelessly queenless, and then they should readily accept these new queens then. But you can see they've been cooped up for a couple of days, so they're certainly making the most of it. So we'll get the suited up, pop some of these hives and get these queens sorted before the weather turns again. So here we go, this is my method. It's not the only method, but we've got a good size split here. Remember rightly, this is one of the colonies that were on double brew, so obviously they've got quite a lot of the forage bees. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through, check for any queen cells, and if it's all good, we'll then pop the tabs on the cage, and then slowly release just a massive frame of stores and pollen. So these had a little feed when I put them away, made the splits, and they've already started drawing out that foundation. Trying to make a queen cup in the middle. Obviously there can't be anything in there. I mean, personally, I like to shake all the bees off the frames just so I can see and I can be 100% sure that there's no cells. There's our new mated queen. There we go, and that's why we do it. One charged emergency queen cell. Complete with royal jelly and larvae. Three more on that one. So now I'm confident that I can pop the tabs and them all out to accept this queen. So one thing I did notice with this colony as well is taking down all the syrup that I put in the other day. So I find our splits are more readily accepted if I give them a bit of feed as well. And they won't get open now for at least 10 days. just can't write it, can you? Halfway through releasing those queens, we're in another hailstorm as well now, so just cannot predict this weather. So that's 19 of the 20 queens done in the nucs. I didn't think there was any point in filming every single one. Once you've seen one, you've pretty much seen them all. There's probably about half a dozen with queen cells in. Also, they've all been knocked back now. We'll leave these nucs down for about a good 10 days before we even think about going in there and inspecting. They've all had another drop of feed if they've needed it, some syrup. So I've just got one more to do. It's about another half an hour drive away. That was a lane worker. So we'll go and pop the cage on that one. We've literally had every single season in the last hour and a half or whatever we've been here. Blue skies at the minute and sunshine, and then if you look up, big dirty black clouds. So I don't know if they're passing or we're about to get poured on again, but anyway, I'm out of here. Any questions on what you've just seen or anything we've done, add them in the comments. If I don't film anything after this, then thanks for tuning in again, and I'll see you next week.